We all know that the sixth Dalai Lama, Changyang Gyatso, wrote many love poems, which in the history of Chinese literature can be considered as brilliant pearls. How should we view such actions from a living Buddha? How did he handle the conflict between human nature and Buddha nature, between reason and emotion? Thank you very much for your time.
First of all, since I am not, in any sense, a living Buddha, it is indeed quite difficult for me to adequately answer a profound question about a living Buddha. However, I can still certainly share my considered opinion on this matter. The sixth Dalai Lama, Changyang Gyatso, was a renowned poet. His poetry at the time can be said to reflect the social phenomena of that era. It also reflected the feelings and thoughts ordinary people about love, about Buddhism, and about various aspects of society at that time. Therefore, in our Tibetan Buddhism, his poetry is very famous, not just because of him, but also because he was a rather unique historical figure. That is why some of his poems have already been translated into Chinese and English. As a result, many people have come to know some of the scenes of daily life from that time. In fact, within Tibetan Buddhism, there are actually many such figures, including some of those just mentioned, some lamas who may appear rather conservative, but the songs they wrote should far surpass those of Changyang Gyatso. There are quite a lot of them in Tibetan literature. Personally, I believe that because of Changyang Gyatso's circumstances at the time, which can also be seen from his secret biography, he had to deal with rather special relationships, as well as handle worldly relationships, and also manage relationships beyond the mundane world, while at the same time playing the role of a living Buddha. He was also involved in political affairs and so on. The history and politics of Tibet at that time were also extremely complex. In such circumstances, some of his poems are indeed quite representative. On the surface, when we look at some of his songs, it seems as if they talk about, for example, the feelings between men and women. Some of his poems are truly beautiful, but in fact every line contains some prophecies and predictions for the future. At the same time, they also touch upon issues of spiritual practice and realization. People often say that Changyang Gyatso's poetry has three layers of meaning: outer, inner, and secret. What we see is the outer meaning, where he describes certain things, like when he went out at that very particular time, he went to find his really close friends. And when he returned the next day, it had snowed heavily. His distinct footprints were already deeply imprinted in the fresh snow. He asked the old dog not to tell anyone, "I'll be exposed." Many of these situations, from our worldly perspective, seem very concrete and realistic. But in fact, within them, there are many prophecies of this kind. They reflect a lot about how an accomplished practitioner, while living in the world, should respond to society, this kind of principle. Some of the teachings mentioned within are actually very profound.